some kind of happiness. The orphan girl awoke in the middle of the night to the feeling that she was being watched. She looked about the camp she shared with her sleeping companions. A circle of trees surrounded them, their trunks twisted together in mighty knots. Ash fell from their withered leaves like snow. "Hello?" the orphan girl whispered into the darkness. "Hello," said a small, clear voice. The orphan girl reached for her pack and saw that it had been opened. Nothing was missing except for the soft leather boot. The orphan girl followed the voice. "Who are you? Show yourself." Two amber eyes gleamed in the gloom. "You know who I am." As the voice spoke, cold waves of power glided across the orphan girl's skin. "The boot," she whispered. The voice laughed, and a red fox padded into the moonlight. "I didn't think you'd recognize me," said the fox. "I met your friend," said the orphan girl. "The snake." The fox's yellow eyes narrowed. "The snake and I are not friends. Not everyone in this wood is friendly, child. Do not make the mistake of assuming so." "I thought—" "Yes, you thought and thought and thought. What good did thinking ever do anyone?" The orphan girl considered this a silly question. "Well, a lot of good has to come to a great many people, in fact." The fox grinned. "You speak your mind. I like that." "My friends and I are looking for the secret of the Everwood," the orphan girl explained. The fox's grin unnerved her. "Why, the trees are dying. What are those howls at night?" "You know the answers to these questions," the fox said, curling its tail about its paws. "I don't." "You do, and don't lie to me. The snake told you. I know. Snakes talk too much." "The Everwood makes whatever is inside us come to life," admitted the orphan girl. "That's what the snake said." "And," prompted the fox, "and my darkness will bring out the Everwood's darkness." "The forest is not as strong as it once was," said the fox. The orphan girl looked away, but did not. The orphan girl wanted to look away, but did not. "Yes." "And what is inside you, child?" The fox's expression turned serious. "What have you brought into these woods? Fear, perhaps?" The orphan girl stiffened. "I'm not afraid of forests." "No, you are afraid of yourself." A chorus of howls cut through the night, closer than they had ever been before. Life is drawn, like is drawn to like, the fox murmured. Darkness finds darkness. "You speak in riddles," accused the orphan girl. "I speak in truths." The fox slunk about the orphan girl's ankles. "Have you heard of the dark ones?" The orphan girl shivered. "They only come out at night." "But they don't truly love the night. What feeds them is a different kind of darkness." The orphan girl did not want to say it, but the black woods trembled around her, and she ached for them. Were the trees in pain? Was it because of her? "We all carry secrets," said the fox. "The more we ignore them, the heavier they become." The fox fixed his hard golden gaze upon the orphan girl. "Are you ready to name it yet, this thought you carry?" The orphan girl squeezed her eyes shut. "No, I am not." "Then they will keep coming for you," said the fox, "and for all of us." When the orphan girl looked up, the fox had gone, and the trees moaned in the wind as if they knew she had failed. Chapter 11. On Sunday morning, I go with Grandma and Aunt Bridget to Barclay Park. There's a 10K race there today. The group Grandma organizes, a pack for every back, will set up a table in the parking lot so people can learn about the program and give donations. In the car on the way to the park, Aunt Bridget is on the phone with Uncle Reed. He's in London on a business trip. I watch Aunt Bridget's face while she talks to him about Dex and Ruth. and how they are having such fun playing with me. Ruth said something about being a squire, whatever that means, Aunt Bridget says. She sighs and rolls her eyes. Come on, Reed. You know, like a junior knight. I don't know if they fight dragons. Probably wouldn't you? She catches my eye and smiles, like we're sharing a joke. Music plays softly on the car stereo. It sounds kind of like Ray Charles music playing downstairs at Hart House the other night, except it's faster and makes me want to dance. Grandma's fingers tap on the steering wheel in time with the music. I can only see her eyes in the rearview mirror, even though they're a different color. Something about them reminds me of Dad. At the park, Grandma and I set out bright green information flyers in a basket of flat, round pins and green pencils with a pack of every back logo on them. Aunt Bridget takes the clipboard and launches into the crowd. Good morning, Aunt Bridget says to a group of 3 runners stretching under a tree. My name's Bridget Hart. How are you? She shakes their hands. Her eye contact is spectacular. Her hair shines in a tight ponytail. I'm with a pack for every back. We're an organization that helps families in need to get school supplies for their children. Grandma and I sit alone at the table. An oak tree sways overhead. It reminds me of the Everwood trees, only this one is out here all by itself. A scout. Hello, Candace. A man in running shorts waves as he passes us. Grandma waves back, straightens the pile of flyers on the table. It's always strange to me to realize that parents and grandparents have actual names. I find myself wanting to correct the man. Her name is Grandma, sir. A woman with a t-shirt that says Run, Jane, Run comes up and grabs a flyer. Candace, you look wonderful, she gushes. And this is Lewis's daughter? Grandma places a soft hand on my arm. Her wedding ring is warm with sunlight. Yes, this is Finley. Finley, this is Roxanne Bates. We help at the library together. Your grandma's the best, says Roxanne Bates, beaming. You look like her, you know. Oh, here, it's not much, but I hope it helps. She drops a $10 bill into her donation bucket. Grandma smiles. Thank you, Roxanne. That's very generous. Anything for you, Candace. She kisses Grandma's cheek. See you on Thursday? Of course. Roxanne Bates hurries away, calling out someone else's name and waving frantically. When the sun hits her, the glitter on her t-shirt shines a silvery pink. Every now and then, someone passing by the table takes a flyer, donates money, or says hello to Grandma, but mostly it's just me and her. I keep checking to make sure I am sitting as straight as her. You look like her, you know. What an odd thing to say. Grandma is old and has white hair. I am young and have blonde hair. Grandma wears just the right shade of lipstick. I do not know what forks to use. How could I possibly look like her? She starts humming the song we were listening to in the car. I want to say something, but I don't know what. Then I blurt out, Ray Charles? Grandma stops humming to look at me. Pardon me? Um, Ray Charles? My cheeks feel sunburned even though we are safely in the shade. Isn't that what you were singing? No, actually, that was Jimmy Reed. Are you a fan of the blues? I don't think so. I'm not sure, I mean. I don't know a lot of the songs. Ah. We sit there staring at each other. I know I should say something, but I don't know what. I'm distracted by Grandma's sharp blue eyes. What does she see when she looks at me? I tuck some hair behind my ear. I should have combed it better this morning. Grandma's is in a soft, neat bun. Dad says all of you listened to Ray Charles when he was growing up. Out of everything to say, I had to bring up Dad. Grandma's mouth twists into a funny shape, like she's heard something strange and does not know what to make of it. He said that, did he? Grandma straightens the stack of flyers for the 7th time today. Well, yes, we did do that. I wipe my palms on my pants. It occurs to me that most people are probably not terrified of their grandmother. But do most grandmothers avoid talking to their sons at dinner? Do most grandmothers keep secrets, like why their granddaughter has never visited? Then Grandma says, We had so many parties in the summer, especially, she pauses. A group of children laugh, chasing one another after through the parking lot. She folds her hands on the table, puts them to her lap, returns them to the table. Not big parties, she says. Not with anyone else, just family. We would open the windows and string up lights on the patio. Your grandfather grilled burgers, and we'd turn up Ray Charles and Jimmy Reed and Bessie Smith and B.B. King. The girls would put their hair in rollers, wear face masks, and old dresses from the attic. They'd do it to feel fancy, old-fashioned Hollywood glamour. Grandma smiles, her voice quiet. There'd be fireflies in the azaleas, and we would dance and eat for hours. And the music would fill up the woods. We only went inside late when the mosquitoes got bad. Sometimes not even then. My heart is in a race with itself. I can see it so clearly that it was like there years ago. Aunt Bridget, Aunt Dee, Stick, kids like me, all of them short and small. Dad with his floppy hair. Our photo albums at home have pictures of him looking like that, but there are always pictures of him alone. No sisters, no parents. Grandma stares at her hands. I miss him, Finley. I feel like I'm standing on the edge of a cliff. You mean, Dad? We did what we had to do. I thought your father could understand, but I never wanted him to stay away. He chose that, not me. He decided we weren't good enough for him. Do you understand? Have her hands been shaking this whole time, or have they just started? Yes, I whisper, although I understand nothing. What did she have to do? Why did Dad stay away? Why did he keep me away? Grandma turns to look at me, and I feel like I am actually seeing her now, like what she has shown me before as a grandma mask, and this is what lies beneath. I open my mouth to say one of several possible things. Grandma, what happened to your face? Your makeup suddenly looks all wrong. Grandma, what did Dad do? Was it something he did? Grandma, tell me more about your blues parties. Tell me more about my dad when he was little. Tell me why we never visited. If you miss him, why don't you ever talk to him? My hair falls into my eyes again, and Grandma brushes it away. What does she see when she looks at me? Sorry, I mumble. My hair is kind of messy. Lewis's always was too. Excuse me. A tired looking man comes up to the table. Two small boys hang off his leg, and he's giving another one a piggyback ride. Are you Candace Hart, the backpack lady? Grandma's face fills with a silver bright smile. That's me. My kid's teacher told me about your program. Where do I sign up? I watch Grandma talk to this man. She holds one of the kids on her lap while the man fills out 3 forms. She lets them pick out pencils and helps to put the pins on their t-shirts. She shakes the man's hand and straightens the kids' collars. When one of them hugs her legs, she bends over and hugs him right back. When they walk away, she watches them go, and she waves when they get to the swing set. Candace Hart! A woman waves from the snack table. I knew you'd be here. Come here. Tell me what's new. Watch the table, Finley. Grandma instructs without looking at me. And tie your shoe, won't you, please? As I watch Grandma head for the snack table, I wonder which is more true. The grandma who knows everyone, who scrubs pans that are already clean, who runs organizations and holds messy kids with crooked collars on her lap. Or the grandma with shaking hands and a tired face. The grandma who hates the Baileys because their house is an embarrassment. The grandma who misses her son. That night I dream of fireflies and of Dad dancing with Grandma in the Everwood beside the old castle in the gray field. When I wake up the next morning, the dream feels thick around me, like a scratchy blanket too heavy for the summer. I find my notebook and start to write a new list. Why my dad left the family. Because he was called away on an adventure that required him to sacrifice all personal ties. But then he got married, so that can't be it. Unless, am I part of some secret international plot? Unlikely. Because they wanted him to take over Grandpa's business with Uncle Reed, but he didn't want to? But why would that be a secret? Because he was different? Like me. Chapter 12. Building a treehouse is more difficult than I had anticipated, but it had to be done. No quest is complete without a base of operations. However, even with Grandpa's supervision, what we end up with on Tuesday is something more like a tree patio. Once we nail the final board into place, we all step back for inspection. Grandpa is the first to speak. Well, he says, scratching his chin, now that is something. Specifically, it is a platform 3 feet off the ground, built around a cluster of 3 thick trees. There's a slanted roof, and it has walls on 2 sides. Steps lead up to the front with a rope ladder hanging off the back. It's one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen. It's ugly, Ruth announces. I thought it would be. Up high in the trees. It's supposed to be a watchtower. Oh, come on, Ruthie. Kennedy adjusts the bandana tied around Ruth's head. This way you can go out inside without asking for anyone's permission. You can also fall off it without breaking your neck, Gretchen says. Ruth frowns. But it's not high enough to see anything. I'll tear it down then. Grandpa approaches the steps with his crowbar. If you're not going to appreciate it, that is. I am happy to hear a collective gasp of horror. That's what I thought. Grandpa turns to me. Now, remember the ground rules. Not 1 inch outside the pit, like Grandma said. Yes, sir, we all say. And you won't let the twins climb around here by themselves. No, sir. Grandpa looks at each of us like he's searching for evidence of a lie. Gretchen stares back so intensely that I almost crack up. Dex picks his nose and inspects the findings. Satisfied, Grandpa nods. Well then, go nuts. But not too nuts. And take off your shoes before you come in for dinner. Gretchen asks, What if we didn't? What then? Apocalypse, probably. Once Grandpa has packed up his tools and gone back into the house, I climb inside what we have named the tower and hang the shoe Gretchen and I found from the ceiling by its laces. It dangles over the center of the floor like a bizarre chandelier. Doing this gives me a moment to think. Everyone else is going home after dinner, but Gretchen has talked Stick into letting her stay at Hart House for the rest of the week. On one hand, out of everyone, Gretchen is the person I know best. On the other hand, I have spent the past 2 days building a tree patio with 5 other people, one of whom is Grandpa, who wears button-down shirts even while building tree patios in the dirt, and I feel a bit like I'm crawling inside my own skin. I keep thinking about what Grandma said at the park about missing Dad, that he was the one who chose to stay away. What does Grandpa think about Dad? Does he miss Dad too? Dad said they talk on the phone, but about what? And how often? And what do they say when they hang up? Do they say I love you? What would those words sound like coming out of Grandpa's mouth? I want to ask him about these things, but whenever I imagine doing so, I freeze up. I've always been better at writing things than saying them. I'm going for a walk, I say casually, hoping no one will follow. Just to walk to clear my head, that's all I need. Oh, me too. Gretchen loops her arm through mine. I try to pull away. Gretchen, really, it's no big deal. Then Gretchen tenses up beside me. I see him too. It's that Bailey boy, the medium-sized one. He is crouched behind a stump a few yards away, and he is holding our stash of valuables. Gretchen's dolphin, Kennedy's medal, my list of words. I am seized by righteous anger. It was Gretchen's idea to bring the stash out here, to christen our headquarters, even though I protested. How did the Bailey boy slip past all of us without anyone seeing him? Gretchen's hands are in fists. Give that back now. The boy grins, winks, and takes off in the other direction, into the Everwood with our stuff. Gretchen growls an extremely forbidden word under her breath. I have to agree. We can't let him get away with this. Gretchen snorts. Oh, don't worry, he won't, she yells. Back in a sec, over her shoulder. Kennedy whirls. Wait, what? But we ignore her. We don't stop to think about Grandma or Grandpa seeing us. We run. We scoot over the first bridge, jump over ridges, and weave through trees. Skid down slopes of mud like surfers. The Bailey boy's laughter floats to us. Trying to catch him is like trying to catch a shadow. We're losing him, Gretchen shouts. Come on, Finn! I have never run this much in my life. We're practically flying, dodging tree roots and fallen logs like they're nothing. My breathing starts to burn and my side aches. Then Gretchen skids to a halt. Oh, man! I catch my breath and blink hard against the sun. We have reached the wasteland, the field with the old gray house. The Bailey boy jumps onto the porch and yells back at us. Come inside if you dare. He laughs, slams the doors, and disappears. What'll we do? Gretchen whispers. We can't go in there, not with the Baileys inside. A dry summer wind sweeps across the field toward the house. I have to follow it. When the Everwood speaks, only fools choose not to listen. Yes, we can, I say, and we will, right now.